right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Relaxed Retro Talk. It has been a while.
A couple days,
A
couple
couple
days.
days. It's been like, what was it, like January or like February, it
I
feels
think
like?
we did the last one we did was our year-end roundup where we handed out the Discord
It was
awards.
that
So that would have
long
been
ago?
December. Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Well, you're a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. We got
Yeah.
heavy schedules, and this podcast was never intended to have a schedule. It was
Yeah,
always just like,
absolutely.
hey, you want to chat for a little while? Yeah, I do. Let's
Yeah.
go. It'd be great.
The thing
But
is,
it,
the thing
yeah.
is when it's not only is it kind of rare for our like schedules to cross, but when they do, we're like, do you want to like play games online or stream something?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, it's
We
more
could
fun.
do work,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Or we could play some video games. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to start the podcast off with a tiny bit of bad news. I probably put about 40 hours into my next top 10 video, and YouTube basically nuked it. So I have to A, finish the parts that I didn't have done yet, and B, redo the entire stuff I had done. So
yeah, just a couple steps.
yeah, just a couple
Step
steps.
one, do that. Step two, completely redo the whole thing.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I knew it was. I had a suspicion that it
Had
was
a
going to
suspicion.
happen.
Yeah.
So what I was doing was, so I generally do. I record all the vocal work first. I didn't used to do it this way, but I do it this way now. I do all the vocal work first. Like try to do it on one night. Um, and then I do like scenes, like footage of either the game or the show or whatever I'm doing, and then I'll do the intro, and then I'll do like number 10, right, and then number 9, and so on. And then I got to, I think, number 7, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna upload this to YouTube just to see what happens, like see if they nuke me. And I didn't. I got the okay, the big green check mark when you upload. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep going. I have no reason to change the way I'm making this video. So I keep going. I finish all the way up to number 4, or including number 4. So I just have 3, 2, 1, and the outro. And I'm like, you know what? Before we finish this bad boy off, let's try her again. Boom, flags everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's like, fuck's sake. So I got to redo the whole video. Just using stills is what I'm gonna do. So yeah,
It
it's
doesn't have the same punch.
no, it doesn't. And if anyone saw my Star Trek tier video, it was supposed to have footage too
Exact same
of
thing.
like stuff, and it got nuked as well. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna do TV shows or anything again, because this is
Yeah.
so
That's
frustrating.
tough. I was saying to you offhand, like, how does anybody upload anything to YouTube now, right? Like,
Yeah, it's
everything
very
has a
strict.
copyright claim to it, right?
Yeah, it's really
And
bad.
and the thing is that sometimes the videos that you're making are videos that already exist out there. Someone else has already
Hmm.
posted these. They haven't pulled proper permission from whoever, and it's not like you're putting the whole, you know, video game or movie or show or whatever. Like, you're talking about like a 10-second clip
Yeah, yeah,
on there.
clips here and there. I'm gonna try
And
and see if I can
yeah,
squeeze a couple little clips in, but yeah, I don't know.
like
it,
5 seconds or less.
Yeah, yeah, a couple 5-second clips here and there, but we'll see what happens at the end of the day. But I guess the news I wanted to say was, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have a video this month. I try to do one top 10 video per month, and I don't know if that's gonna be able to happen this month. I'm gonna try and make it happen, but it might not. Anyways, on to some more positive stuff. Speaking of Star Trek, I've been a Star Trek fan for quite a few years now,
Hmm.
and me and Finney are kind of always talking about Star Trek off and on.
Hmm.
And DG has never taken the plunge, but now he has taken the plunge. And I just wanted to talk about your experience with it.
Yeah,
What I know you're enjoying it from what I hear,
yeah,
but
yeah.
what are your thoughts? What like
Well, it's funny. So all through growing up, I was Star Wars, full stop, period. And people are like, "Oh, you should watch Star Trek." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, thanks. I don't want to watch Star Trek. I like Star Wars." And then there was this camp, And I don't think it exists so bad anymore, but before there was two sides. There was the Star Wars camp and the Star Trek camp. And I think that whole thing died when the prequels came out, and then it further died when the sequels came out, like
Oh yeah.
7, 8, 9. As these movies got progressively worse, those
Progressively worse.
those two camps weren't so divided, because I think as a Star Wars fan you were unable to be like, yeah, my show's definitely the best.
Yeah.
But in reality, I mean, look, it's not. As a lifelong Star Wars fan, I'm true to the episodes 4, 5, and 6, and that's basically it. So, taking that in, I finally took the jump originally into Star Trek Next Generation, and I started watching at the beginning. I watched episodes 1 through 6. Episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Of season 1, yeah.
Of season 1. And I hated it. I was like, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is why Star Trek is brutal and awful, and I'm never watching this again. And then fast forward, I think there's probably a 3 or 4 year gap in between this.
So it was only about 3 years ago when you first tried it?
It wasn't a long time ago. It would have been before pre-COVID for sure. 2017, 18, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit later even, because I wanted to give it a fair shot. I was like, this is something that people have said is really good. I should give it a fair chance. I should at least try. And I always, when I'm trying a new show, I will always watch at least 3 episodes of the show, because episode 1's always the pilot, so you kind of have to
it's
give
always
it a little bit of space.
Different than the rest, hey?
And then I think with Next Generation, the first couple episodes there was a couple 2-parters, so I think even
the first episode might have been a 2-parter. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like, you can counter at Farpoint there.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, we'll give it a shot. By the time they like, and I don't even remember the full concept of the episode, but they land on a planet. It's inhabited by Ferengi. The Ferengi take over
that
the
episode.
ship. And the next thing you know, it's just like these like goofy Oompa Loompa looking guys, right? And they're like, Oompa, take out Picard. And then that was it. It was awful.
Yeah,
it was awful. And so I was like, put a cap on it. Fast forward, talk to you guys, and you're like, no. You did this all wrong. Star Trek is not that type of a show. It does not work as a series. It is episodic. You watch these episodes and you curated out a list, because you said you were working on this list
for
outside
years,
of this.
really.
Yeah. This is kind of like your go-to, like, here's how I get people into the series thing.
It's how I get people into it, but it's also like, I'm caught up in Star Trek now, and so I want to like rewatch like some of the series, right? So I've been working on this list for like quite a few years, and just basically all the best episodes, all the best and all the necessary episodes, because as much as it is episodic, there are some things that do carry forward, right?
Yeah. And then at any time as you go down the path, it'll reference back to something, and then those ones are in there. So I rewatched starting that, and then all of a sudden it was just like a rocket ship taking off. So I blew through the entire list of the Next Generation, which spanned all 7 seasons of that. I haven't gotten into the movies yet, but then I jumped over to the original series, because we were talking about the original series, and you were like, it's from the 60s, there's a lot of camp. If you're not into that, you're probably not going to like it. And I normally am not into, like, I'm not normally that kind of a TV watcher with camp and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you, the watch of the original series has been more enjoyable almost than Next Generation.
I really like it.
Not from a like a suspense or from that like cinematic quality, like you're watching a show and it's really got you sucked in, but more like, I wonder what's going to happen in this episode, which is exactly why it was created that way, right?
Absolutely,
like, and it's fun to watch from the 60s, like the one episode Captain Kirk's fighting a Gorn. You can literally see the zipper on the back of the costume. And they're fighting, but they're fighting in it's like in slow motion.
It's like almost. It's not even choreographed at all. And
no,
it's just like if me and you were to like just film a fight scene and we had no planning ahead of time.
Like, the guy behind
swinging,
the camera is like,
and you're just like, you better duck. It's like, Always the double axe handle,
Yeah,
like
oh yeah,
always the
Kirk
most
loves the double
powerful
axe.
move of all time.
And so it's just it's funny, right? And so because of that, it becomes entertaining, and the stories are really good in there too.
Yeah, they are.
It's just kind of really mixed in with like that '60s vibe,
Hmm.
right? And so yeah, it's been a really fun watch. I'm just about through that too, and we've been watching the movies in the Discord too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like pinning it here with the original series. I'm just about done the watch of original series because then from here I think the next jump is to into Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you were saying so yeah. I mean, as far as it goes, my entire opinion of Star Trek has completely turned around. I quite enjoy it, and I don't think you're gonna see me walking a convention hall dressed head to toe in a Starfleet uniform. But I probably, if was presented one, I don't think I would say no either.
Yeah, yeah. I have the only one I have is the original like Captain Kirk, like the
Okay.
not the green one. I wish I had the green one, but I've got the what Sulu wears and what Kirk wears and something like the yellowy
His
goldy.
yellow sweater,
Yeah, yeah, the long
jersey
sleeve.
sweater.
That's the only one I've got. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a really good watch. I gotta say, it's definitely not anything like what I expected. I went in expecting Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
I
and
went in
everybody
expecting
that
like that kind
starts
of movie.
everybody that starts with who's like a Star Wars fan is like, "Oh, Star Wars is better." But in reality, they're
Couldn't
nothing
be
the
more
same at
different.
all.
Yeah, couldn't be more different. They might as well be Berenstein Bears and Family Guy. They're both
Yeah.
cartoons,
It's
but they have
it's
nothing to do with each other.
the Star Trek is more like the X-Files or like the
Yeah,
Twilight Zone, right? More so, but with a
yeah,
continuing cast of characters,
yeah.
right? Um
It's got a contained story. It's different, and they're constantly coming up with new things. I like the concept of episodic, but then you said that as it goes down the road, it does eventually turn into more of a series type of thing
yeah, Deep Space
where it
9
follows the thing.
is very
So
serialized.
so I mean, so that's something too. I do enjoy as long as it's well written. That's the problem. And the thing
Yeah.
is, and I had commented this to you before. It seems that most of the Star Trek series, most of the Star Trek series, seasons 1, 2 ish, not very good. It's like
Yeah.
they have to get their steam going. And I had said, it's remarkable because nowadays, if you have a bad season,
You're
you're
done.
done. No
Mhm.
one's watching your show, and you're off the air, and you're canceled, and that's that, right? For Next Generation to go for 7 seasons, with the first
Two
one for
seasons.
sure, but definitely season 2 as well, right?
Yeah.
They're
They're
pretty
rough.
stinky. Those ones
Mhm.
weren't fun to watch. And then all of a sudden they kind of catch their mojo and away they go from there, right? But
Absolutely. There was a lot of like behind the scenes issues with Next Generation as well.
yeah,
Basically, Roddenberry was like dying, and his
yeah,
lawyer was like stealing scripts and rewriting them. So it was like that's a big part of why it was awful too. But yeah, Star Trek. It always seems to like Next Generation's probably the only one where the first two seasons are like pretty much trash. Like there's like really good episodes here and there, but for the most
yeah.
part, like if you're to sit down and each season's like what 27 episodes or
It's a lot of
something,
episodes. Yeah,
like there's like out of those 27 times 2 seasons, you're maybe gonna get maybe 10 good episodes out of
yeah.
the 2 seasons. Whereas as much as Deep Space Nine and Voyager, yeah, they don't really pop off until season 3 or 4. They're still good in seasons 1 and 2. They just get even better at season three and
Right,
four, and
right.
then with the original series, it actually goes to shit in the third season.
Yeah,
There's like what
backwards.
on the list. There's probably what like two episodes on the
I
list
think there's
from
only
season
one
three.
episode of season 3. I
Yeah,
think it
there's
was
only
just the
like
Tholians.
yeah, and that one's not even like that good of an episode. It's just like that's the introduction of the Tholians into the Star Trek universe,
Yeah,
right? So it's
yeah.
like season 3 they were kind of running out of material basically, I think is what was going on. Um
Well,
what
I could fight my copy again.
Yeah, he's like every episode of especially like season 1 in the original series, there's always like an evil Kirk. It's so stupid. But one thing I really like about the original series is the character development is even stronger than it is in TNG, because there's a smaller, not only is there a smaller core cast, but there's a smaller cast overall. Like you've got the core cast would be like Kirk, McCoy, and Spock, right? Like those are like the three pivotal characters. Yeah, but then you've got Uhura, you've got Scotty. Eventually, you get Chekhov, right? Sulu. Yeah, so it gets really good. Like the three main guys really get developed in a short period of time, but you don't have all like the space effects and anything like that. So a lot of it is just them talking amongst each other and learning like how do they deal with these situations. Each of them has their own take on things, and you really get to know the characters really well, and their interactions is really what sets the original series apart from some other shows, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because like, they kind of start really hitting the gas with the show, because season 2 all of a sudden Chekhov's there, and it's like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, he just kind of comes in. Like, there's not even an episode, I don't think, where they bring him in. I think he's just there. He's just on the bridge all of a sudden.
That's just it. So that was season 2, episode 1. He's there.
Yeah, okay,
at the end of season 1, no Chekhov. Season 2, episode 1, he's like, hey, I'm Chekhov. I've been here all the time.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Victor 19.
I've been over there. I've just been sitting in that chair. That's all.
And the wee whistle. I like Chekhov. He was like the young guy, right? There's a couple episodes, I don't know if they were on the list, but he's always like picking up the ladies and stuff. That's kind of his thing. Because I think they thought it was like, I think they thought it was weird having like Captain Kirk always like running around picking up chicks. So they were like, oh, let's get this young guy in here and have him, like it would make more sense.
Yeah, we'll offshoot it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been the character development is crazy. I would say that original cast is strong. Right?
It is. It's very strong.
I think for the 60s, for them to host Uhura as a black actress,
female, even
like black female actress
on the bridge,
a primetime show in the main cast. I don't think there's an episode she's not in.
Nope, and there's a lot of episodes where she bails them out.
Yeah, I think that was really cool. That was actually really cool, because I mean, rewind time, go back to that time frame.
Yeah.
Not many shows are doing that,
Yeah. Well, even in the pilot, they filmed the pilot, and they had so there's the new Star Trek series. It's called Strange New Worlds, and it's about Captain Pike, like the guy that had the Enterprise before Kirk. And the pilot was about Captain Pike, and there's that 2-parter. Was it the Menagerie? Where where it's basically clips from the pilot. And so they had number 1 was a female. It was actually Roddenberry's wife played her. And then they had Spock, and they were both like the 2 head honchos on the bridge. There was Pike, number 1, and Spock. And basically the network execs were like, that guy looks like a demon. We can't have a demon on television.
Crazy eyebrows.
Yeah, and we can't have a woman on the bridge. So Roddenberry, I think what he did was he was basically like, okay, well, we need a freaking alien on the ship. That's kind of the point of the show. And so he just got rid of the female as
Spock, come here. We gotta cut your eyebrows.
No, he still has the eyebrows. He still got he was more.
They're just not out there. They were like out there.
Yeah,
like
they really were.
Right?
And he was like emotional.
It looked better.
It did look better, I think. Yeah. He had like emotion and stuff too in the pilot, but his character's way better now. But they got rid of the woman as number 1, but he was still snuck Uhura on the bridge. I think what they did was they started filming the first couple episodes once they got approved, and like if you notice the first couple episodes in the first season, she's just kind of like she's on the bridge, but her back is kind of turned. And then I think once they gave the go ahead to hit television and stuff, they were just like, all right, well, they're not going to stop us. So
yep, we got it now.
Yep, we got her in there. And there's like, the first African American kiss with a white man is one of the episodes. It wasn't on the list because the episode overall isn't the greatest, but it's I think it's actually might even be Plato's Children or whatever, that really bad one where
Okay.
Kirk's turns into a horse and he's like walking around like this. You should check that one out
I should
sometime.
watch that one.
It's just so bad. But the fact that she was there, and the fact that she bails them out, like even in you finished the Terran Empire one, right?
Yep.
She's like
She's a
basically,
badass.
yeah, she like serenades like evil Sulu and is like,
Yeah.
it's like, all right guys, it's up to you now. Like she gets the ability to head back to the real universe. And then even in the, what movie was it we watched last? Was it Search for Spock?
Search for Spock.
Where she's like the biggest part of the whole like heist where they steal the ship.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that because, like I said, I mean, go back to any of the shows in the '60s, you're not seeing a coexistence show. Right?
No,
like, I mean, you had very like geared towards.
You had like that black
audiences.
exploitation stuff.
Yeah,
I don't think that was out
like,
quite yet, but pretty shortly after that. But it was just
early '70s. Then,
but all the characters were like just African American people, and
right.
it was
just
for that,
aimed at that audience
demographic.
And then you had this one aimed at the white audience, and so to have a show that bridges in between, where it's like, look, we don't care who you are. You can be anybody. We want you to enjoy our show. We're going to include you. We want you to be part of this. I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the first, but it's definitely one of the earliest shows I know of that kind of really approached that. And
even having Chekhov, I mean, they were balls deep in the Cold War.
Yeah, the
back
Cold
then.
War, and you got a Russian guy on the main. Like, it's just that's what I'm saying. It's just the camaraderie of a group that it's like, we don't care, human, alien, different race, male, female, we don't care. You're here, you're part of our team, and then Captain Kirk as the leader is like would like die for his team, right?
Absolutely.
Like, however many times I watched the one where it's like when Spock's in Pon farr.
He's all horned up.
And he's ready to rock and roll, and Kirk's like, "No, he's my friend. We gotta go. We gotta do this. If he fights this other guy, he's gonna lose. So he might as well fight me. He can knock me out." And then it's like, "Oh, it's a fight to the death." He's like, "God damn it."
Yeah. I love how like they're always able to find a way out though, and that's kind of Kirk's thing. Like he does not believe in a no-win situation, right? That's like the whole Kobayashi Maru thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I also like if you listen to like the old heads, like the guys that grew up watching Star Trek, that all you ever hear about Kirk is like, oh yeah, he was a cowboy, he was a womanizer, he was a badass, but you don't. So you get this picture from outside. If you've never watched the original series, you get this picture of just this like womanizing kind of douchebag but cool guy, but realistically, like Kirk is a tactical genius.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And that's not how people remember him, but that's absolutely what he was.
Well, I mean, look at what they did with the remake movie and the Captain Kirk in the movie. That's how people imagine.
Yeah, that's true. Like the 2009,
the badass action hero.
Mm-hmm.
Roll in and destroy everything and walk away from the explosion without looking at it, kind of thing, right?
Which I like those movies too.
Great.
But that's not who Kirk was, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
always running 3 steps ahead of the guy.
Absolutely. And then Picard, obviously, like, you always see, like, these polls on forums and stuff. It's like, whose ship would you rather be on? And everybody chooses Picard because it's just the safe fucking option. Like, Picard's super smart. He's never gonna endanger his crew. Like, I don't know. He
would have been safer if he listened to Worf.
Every
time.
Yeah, there's like videos of like this episode if Picard would have just listened to Worf, and it's like the episode's like 3 minutes long instead of a full hour.
Captain, I don't think we should go in there.
Good suggestion, Worf, and then just don't do it. But yeah, honestly, the casts, are like one of the strongest points of all I think the Star Trek series, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then the writing is just so well done.
It's very good. It's a fun watch. It's one of those shows where
It gets the
I
mind
had
going too, you
yeah, I
know.
had given up on it, right? It's refreshing because there isn't really anything like it other than itself, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of shows that are in space. There's a lot of shows that have like, Starfleet like
Yeah.
uh, organizations. There's a lot of like teams, but none of them really pull together as well as I think that they
Yeah.
do with Star Trek. At least so far, I haven't watched the next seasons on from Deep Space Nine and beyond. So who knows? Maybe when I get to one, I'll be like, no, never mind. I'm good. But truthfully, the way that this is aiming, and I think it kind of just goes up from here, especially in production value and
Yeah.
things like that. It's definitely I'm definitely glad I went back and went and rewatched the series now, because now I'm in, and we've been doing Star Trek Online. That's the other thing.
Yeah, we've
That's
been
really
playing a
helped kind of
lot.
stitch that all together too, because it's just good to be able to kind of put like, oh, okay, yeah, I know where we are now. I know what this is about. I know this
Mhm.
character.
And they do such a good job with Star Trek
Hmm.
Online, like all the
Yeah.
locations. You really feel like you're in the Star Trek universe,
Yeah.
and the writing, like the story gets so good. Like I know you're just starting like the Iconian season, but
Hmm.
that is like the best season in the whole game.
Yeah.
Um, there's a couple MMO like stinker seasons in there, but other than that, like the writing is on par with the freaking show for the most part. Like it's so well
Yeah.
done, and there's so many like little cameos and stuff. But they still make you kind of like the focal point, and new characters like the focal point of the story, instead of like making the whole story around the old characters. They just kind of
For
show
sure.
up and help out and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely been one of the top tier games that I've been playing recently. I stepped away from MMOs, and then this one, you guys were talking about it, and I had jumped in. The space combat is just exactly what I need in a video game. It's really
Yeah,
good.
they
I really, really
absolutely
well done.
nailed it. Like it's perfect Star Trek space combat too, right?
Hmm.
Like you've got
Hmm.
your fighter style ships, but then you've got like your beam boats, like the Enterprise, where you shoot your phasers off to the side or wherever you need to shoot and stuff like that. It's just so well done.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I can't remember what I was gonna say. Fuck. I was gonna say something that I completely forgot. Oh, I think you're gonna really like Deep Space Nine, to be completely
Okay.
honest.
Yeah,
Deep,
the first, because there was a couple episodes in your list for Next Generation, because it set things up for a couple of the episodes. There was like some crossover stuff that
yeah,
was
so
happening in there.
so what they would do every now and then, they would do, because they aired at the same time. So I can't remember what season. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 of the Next Generation. They kind of help establish Deep Space Nine as a station. So there's a couple crossover episodes. Most of them aren't very big, but once you finish now that you're finished TNG, and once you finish TOS, if you want to go into Deep Space Nine, it's happening while TNG is happening, basically, for the
Right.
first five
Right.
or so seasons. And then I think once TNG ended, Voyager started right there. So it's like there was for a long time there was always two Star Trek
Like
shows
an
on
overlap,
at the
which is
same
really
time.
interesting. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that they were able to pull that off for such a long period of time.
Yeah, and they're doing it again now, pretty much. With you've got Star Trek Picard, you've got Discovery, you've got Lower Decks, and Strange New Worlds, and that kids one, Prodigy. You've got all 5 of those basically kind of running staggered amongst each other. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how they're
Yeah.
able to pull that off. But yeah, some of the crossovers were cool. But I think you're really gonna like Deep Space Nine because it's way more action packed too, and
Okay.
and Cisco doesn't take shit from anyone. But like I think I showed you that clip where
With he's
where
fighting Q.
yeah, Q shows up in like one episode. Captain Cisco just punches him out and is like, "Get the fuck off my station," and you never see Q again in the
Yeah.
entire series. It's
It's like,
fucking
you don't play like Picard does.
yeah,
I'm not Picard.
yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more. It's a lot more heavy. It's a lot more. There's a lot more like combat because they're basically on the border of like unknown space, and
Right.
there's that
The Bajoran
wormhole.
wormhole is
Yeah,
there,
and
and
the
yeah.
wormhole kind of leads to like these factions that really do not like the Federation and stuff, and
Right.
the way they actually the network execs and stuff always wanted to keep Star Trek episodic.
Mm.
And then the writers, what they did was they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have it take place on a space station," and then they're like, "Oh, okay," and they're like, "Yeah, it'll still be the same." But then to make it serialized, they were like, "Well, you can't have like in TOS and TNG, they're going from place to place to place, right? But
Right.
in DS9, the stuff's
It's
coming to
all one
them,
spot.
so
Hmm.
it is serialized. But the execs didn't want it to be, but they're like they tricked the execs into having it be serialized by having it
Cool.
on a space station like that. So yeah, I
It's a
think you'll
smart
really
idea.
like that one. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways, yeah, let's jump into some. There's some fantastic games coming out. I think our last podcast we were talking about how many really fucking good games were coming
There's
out.
some good stuff coming out.
Some good games have come out already, like Shredder's Revenge.
Which I never thought would actually come out. I'm
I
genuinely
know
surprised. I thought it was going to be delayed into oblivion and never actually released.
it
But you're
was
saying it's a lot of fun.
it was awesome. It's probably the best Turtles beat 'em up game. I think. Yeah,
Interesting.
I think it is. And yeah, it was one of those games where they would not give you a fucking release date. That was the big
Yeah.
problem, right? They'd show gameplay. Oh, look at April's in the game and all
Yep.
this, but they would never give you your release date. And then you got a release date, and then they're like, "Yeah, it's out next month," and it was like, "Holy shit!"
That
So
was fast. Yeah.
yeah, but it was a very fun game. I highly recommend it. Fantastic game. And then recently, I think it was last week or something, Sonic Origins came out, and it's
Mm.
basically the HD. They did like the HD versions of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles and CD. So you can
Okay.
play all the classic 2D Sonic games now on modern consoles in HD. So that's pretty exciting too. They kind of fucked up a little bit because Michael Jackson did a couple of the tracks on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and they like I don't know why. Like you'd think Sega would be able to get the rights to those, but they just didn't. So they have like the prototype versions of those
Oh,
tracks,
weird.
and like the Ice Cap Zone song is the best track in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and now it's just like some generic like bleeps and bloops. It's pretty disappointing. Yeah, basically. But if you get it on, like, I'm like very like anti Steam, but honestly, if you're gonna get it and your computer fucking works all the time for you and Steam works for you, get it on Steam because people are gonna patch that shit like immediately. I think so you
Yeah,
can
you'll
actually
get a mod
have
for it.
so you can have the actual music in there. But honestly, yeah, that's got to be the best way to play those games. So if you've never played them and you've been on the fence, or if you're a longtime fan, you haven't played them in a long time, definitely pick up Sonic Origins. And then July 22nd. So this is the thing. July's got some big boomers.
Hmm.
July 22nd, you've got Live Alive, which
Yep.
it was a Super Famicom game. There are English fan patches, but it's never been officially released here. And basically, it's this JRPG. They're doing it in this pixel remake
It's like the
HD.
Octopath kind of
Yeah,
art
I think they
style.
call it HD 2D style or whatever,
Yeah.
and it looks fucking gorgeous, man. It's fully voice acted, which nobody thought was gonna happen, and the demo came out like I think this week, and people fired up the demo and were like, "Holy fucking shit, this game is voice acted!"
Hmm.
Because there's like modern Nintendo games that have no voice
Yeah.
acting in them, and now you've got
Pokemon.
yeah, you've got a Super Nintendo game that is fully voice acted, HD, everything looks beautiful. Can't wait to play it. And
On
yeah, go ahead.
sorry. On that topic, if you're releasing a brand new game right now, and you have funding for it, indie gets a pass. Okay,
Yeah,
if you're indie,
absolutely. If
if
you're a
you're indie, you're
major
indie. You do what
fucking
you do. But if you're a major publisher, AAA titles, and you are creating a game without voiceover, that to me that's unacceptable.
yeah, pretty much
There
at
is no
this point.
reason that Pokemon is not voice-overed.
Absolutely.
And if
Well,
Scarlet
Zelda?
Violet is not voice-overed, they'll never do voiceover. Like that
No.
this is their one shot at doing it because they're on the Switch. They've got everything that they could possibly need from a memory, from a graphical, from a whatever power point of view.
Absolutely.
If it's not voiceover, because Arceus wasn't voiceover, right?
No.
Shield Sword wasn't voiceover,
No.
right? There's no reason why Violet Scarlet shouldn't be voiceover. I and I mean, and that's just Pokemon. If you're releasing a game in this day and age that's not voiceovered, it's ridiculous. You've
Hmm.
cheaped out on your game. Is
Yeah,
what you've done.
absolutely.
And to me, that comes out in the experience anyway. Rant over.
Absolutely. Even like I never played much of. I played what I played of Breath of the Wild. I played at your house. Is it the
Yeah.
same stupid Zelda thing where they're like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," or
Um,
do they actually talk?
no, they don't actually talk. But to be perfectly honest, there wasn't a lot of
Dialogue to begin with.
dialogue. There was dialogue, but there wasn't so much that you really noticed.
Oh,
It was
okay.
the Zelda games are more about adventure and exploration than they are about like
An actual
really
story.
telling that story.
Yeah.
There is story. Don't get me wrong, but don't flame me and say this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. There is story and there is dialogue, and I think some of it is voiced over. Like some of it is narrated. I think if I'm
Oh.
remembering, but I am going back quite a while and
Yeah,
I'm old
that
and my
was a
brain
long
doesn't
time
work fully.
ago.
But the vast majority of it, no. The vast majority of it is like, wait, blah, 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 blah,
Oh, I
blah,
hate
blah."
that shit.
And that's
man.
just
It's like
yeah,
don't
that's
do
just how it is.
anything if you're gonna
Yeah,
do that.
just
Just-
keep it quiet.
Yeah. Or have like the text scroll sound. Like I like that. Like like
Yeah.
like I like that. Like Dragon Quest will do that. If there's
Yep.
scenes where you're just talking to generic in-town NPCs, I like that. I don't know. It's just from growing up playing old
Yeah.
school JRPGs.
And
I
that's,
kinda
I
like
guess
that.
that's the other thing. That's another good point. Is it doesn't have to be 100% voiceover.
Yeah.
If
oh,
what they're
absolutely.
saying isn't relevant to the story,
Or if it's even a side quest,
Fine.
I don't really care if it's
that's
voiced.
that's fine. But I expect the main quest to be fully voice
Mhm,
acted.
absolutely.
Again, Indy, you get a pass because you might not be able to afford like
Well, exactly.
macaroni to eat while you're programming it.
Spend
so-
your money on A, taking care
Make
of
the game
yourself,
good.
and B,
Yeah.
the game.
Make the game good, then come do voiceover.
But yeah, Live Alive, super fucking excited for that. Basically, I think you live the lives of like 5 different people from 5 different time periods. So there's like this futuristic one. There's like I think a prehistoric one. There's a cowboy. You live as like a Wild
Kind of
West.
looks like Chrono Trigger esque from a story point of view, like with a time traveling kind of thing.
Well, I don't even know
And
if
then-
there's
and then you're
time
fixing-
travel, but
But you're fixing a timeline or something, aren't you?
I don't even know. I don't
think that's
think
what it was.
there's time travel, but I heard that all like 5 or 6 stories come together at the end. So there's got to be some kind of a time wormhole at some point. But it just seems cool as fuck, man.
It looks like a really good game.
And then on July 29th, we've got Digimon Survive and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 dropping on the exact same day. I feel terrible for Digimon Survive because it is going to get murdered.
It's gonna get crushed.
Yeah, and I'm a huge... I mean, look at... I
Well-
got fucking Demi Vmon right here. You can't say I'm shitting on Digimon because I don't like Digimon.
I think those people who are going to play Digimon Survive won't be swayed. They'll pick
No,
up
if you're a
Survive no matter
Digimon
what.
fan and not a Xenoblade fan, yeah, obviously you're going to play Digimon.
I think if you're a both fan, you're going to pick up both, but you may not get it on launch.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I anytime an RPG comes out that and truthfully, my list has dwindled down so far that I think Xenoblade's the only one that's really left on the list anymore. I have to play that right away because somebody's going to spoil it. For me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like it's movies, it's games, it's whatever, because of how vocal people are with their stuff. And I don't run in circles too bad for other people who really like that type of a game.
Yeah.
But I do have enough of a connection that I'm terrified of somebody playing it before me and being like, "Oh man, wasn't
Same.
it crazy when this happened?" And it's like,
Yeah.
great, thank you for that. That was
That's
fantastic.
that's what I'm always afraid of too. Like I don't know how I didn't get spoiled for Xenoblade 2 because I played it so far after it came out. But
But people are really respectful of it when you let them know that's the case. But
yeah,
I mean, for you and me, if we're streaming it on Twitch, there is a real
high
danger,
chance. Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
I was playing, what was it? Was it Final Fantasy 4? It was Final Fantasy 4 or Chrono Trigger, one of those two. And somebody came into chat and they're like, "What are you doing? Why don't you do this?" And the mods like had to quickly jump into action and wipe it because it was like full fledged like might as well copy and paste it out of a walkthrough, right? Like
Or when they
it was
think you're
bad.
at a certain part and they're like
Yeah,
trying to
they're
help
like,
you,
"Oh man,
but
wasn't
you're
it
not at
crazy
that part
when
at all yet.
was it crazy when the princess got her throat cut?" It's like, "What the come on."
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I do a lot of old JRPGs. Like that's what I've been doing lately, right? And thankfully, I haven't had like any of them spoiled. But sometimes the worst is this is usually what'll happen. This is the worst. This is what'll happen. Is they'll say something, and then I'll be like, "Whoa, dude, no spoilers." And they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's pretty obvious it's gonna happen anyways." It's like, no, it
Oh.
isn't. You're just trying to make yourself feel better because I had no fucking clue that that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's the worst. But yeah, that's I got that week, the week after it comes out, booked off because I don't want any spoilers. I want to plow through that game. I actually
Yeah.
just finished Jade Cocoon tonight. I was not expecting to finish that game so
Nice.
soon. So I think I'm gonna try and grab Torna, um,
Yeah.
and play through that before Xenoblade 3 comes out. So that's gonna be kind of shitty because I'm gonna be rushing hard because I don't want Xenoblade 3 to come out and I'm still playing Torna, but
Yeah, I think Torna was only it wasn't super super long,
yeah, it's not
20-ish
nearly as
hours or something
yeah.
like
I heard
that.
it's like 20 hours. It's not like the other ones
Yeah.
are like almost 200, right? Like
Yeah, well, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, I think I put in 90 something hours a piece
yeah,
into
that
them.
sounds about right. But
And so that's kind of what I'm anticipating for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It's going to be such a good game.
it is.
I truly think that's the only game that's left on my will buy on day 1 list.
Yeah,
Everything
I've
else
got a
I'm like,
couple
nah,
here,
I'm going to
but
wait.
um and here's the thing. So I it depends on the game, so I kind of understand. But DG's the kind of guy that really doesn't want to see fucking anything about the game.
No.
And and some games I'm like that, like almost none though. But some some games I'm like that. But with Xenoblade, I wouldn't be like that for 3, but I played X and X fucking
Mm,
pissed me off so
it was
much.
awful.
So I wanted to see what 3 was gonna be like, right? I didn't want them I didn't want it to look like it might piss me off. And I watched it, and it's funny because I didn't tell him anything that actually happened in it, but they had that new trailer. I think it was last week or something like that, and I was like, "Holy fucking shit! This game looks even better than I thought it was gonna be, and I thought it was gonna be amazing." So I'm even like more excited for it now,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm super hyped.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been skipping trailers. I don't go to the forums. I don't do Reddit. I don't if it says if I see XENO, I bail immediately. Cuz I just if for me if Xenoblade and other JRPGs, right? This is not just a Xenoblade thing. This is an RPG thing. This tiniest bit of story could unravel a ton. The problem is that someone's like, "Oh, so and so does this in the story." The entire time from wherever I am to when
Until
that actually
then,
happens, my brain's like, "Oh, this is when that happens. Oh, this is when that happens," and I
yeah.
don't get to actually just kind of sit and enjoy whatever it is that's actually happening. I'm constantly like, "Oh, remember when John told me that this thing happens? Ah, that must
Yeah,
be this point." And so
yeah.
it's just annoying. I hate it. I hate it so bad. So what I do is I just exile myself from everything. It's like I'll experience it from beginning to end, and then I'll double back. Because then what I do is then I'll go to the subreddit and I'll read through the memes, and it's all funny. And I like to go back and see, and then that way if I miss something, people will be like, "Oh, did you try this? You could do this to." We were doing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We were farming for
Those
blades,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
and
you showed me
I
that
had stumbled across that
that cheese
after,
strat.
yeah,
Oh, that was
after I
after you
completed the
beat it
game.
already.
Yeah, yeah, because
Oh.
I don't do anything. I want to play that story. I want to do what I need to do. I want to learn the combat by myself if I can, right?
Mm. Xenoblade's usually
Because
bad for
they're
explaining
bad,
combat.
dude. They're
I'm glad
awful,
you
but
told me how the combat in 2 was, because
yeah,
honestly 2 is like, other than, like, I love turn-based combat. That's my number one. Like Dragon
yeah.
Quest, Final Fantasy X, favorite combat of all time. But if you're outside of turn-based combat, honestly, Xenoblade 2 is my favorite combat, other than the
It's
turn-based.
really really good, but the learning curve is steep.
Yeah,
Like
but
it is. It does not tell you how to actually do it. It does. It literally tells you as you play through it. But every single person I've gotten to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I think there's four, maybe five of other friends of mine who played it. It's always the same thing. When you get to this fight, this specific
oh yeah,
fight,
you're stuck because you
let me
don't.
know, and I will help you because you need to know how all these combos fit together,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like they don't realize about like the orbs flying around, and when you run your chain, you smash these orbs, you do extra damage, and all of
Yeah.
these things fit
It's like
together.
setting up
Yeah,
combos to chain
yeah,
more combos. Dude, it's
that's right.
fucking beautiful.
It's really really well done.
And I feel like once you all you need is the grasp of setting up a combo and to know that you can chain other combos off of it.
That's right.
And once you know that, as you progress through the game, you're slowly getting better and better at it
Yep,
as the game goes on, and it's like
yep.
your level, and that's, I kind of get, like, people that love Xenoblade X are like, your level doesn't even matter, you get good and make the game like your bitch,
Yeah,
basically, right? But Xenoblade X's battle system was way too fucking
it was
overcomplicated,
complicated.
and
Everything about X was complicated.
absolutely directionless and complicated.
Yeah,
But in 2, it was like okay, and then as you're progressing through the story, things are like clicking, and you're
hmm
like, okay, so I probably wouldn't have been able to beat this boss if I didn't figure this out shortly before this, and you're slowly just like learning, and it's
yeah.
so good. It's
Yeah,
so
and you
good.
shift your blades up for the fight because and to go in and lose is not a bad thing, is a good thing
No,
because then you
you're
start to learn the
learning.
fights and stuff,
Hmm.
right? Um, yeah, I gotta say I can't think of a bad thing. If there is a bad thing about Xenoblade, it's the
Some of
real
the
like
cringy shit.
cringy stuff in there,
And it's a
and
lot less bad than I thought it was
it's
going to be
less.
going into it.
It's still there. It's
It
still
is
pretty
there, yeah.
prevalent, and I'm hoping, to be perfectly honest, I'm hoping they tune it back a little bit for 3. Look, have some funny bits, have those anime kind of moments, do that. Whatever, that's fine. That's all good. But I mean, there is definitely no need for the main character to be
Poppy
building
was,
a sex robot in his
yeah.
garage, right? Like,
Poppy was horrible. Poppy and who was it? Tora? Was that his name? The Nopon
uh,
in 2?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
Tora
don't
was
think it.
horrible.
Yeah,
Which
Tora.
is which sucks because Ricky was the
I used them
best.
in my main. Yeah, I used them in my main party.
Oh, I
I did.
didn't. I didn't.
I used them actually because Poppy has 3 forms, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you unlocked all 3 of them or
I
not. Because
I
the
think
one
I
form is
did.
a pain
Yeah.
in the ass to unlock.
One's really good. I remember.
And so, but her third form is like beast mode. And the thing was that his ability, he was the defensive tank guy,
Right.
right? Like he was very very tanky. I didn't put Zeke in because Zeke is a replacement for my character, right? Like Zeke is an
Right.
attacker.
Yeah, he kind of is. I can't
He's
remember
not
who
a
the fuck
defender.
I used. I used the
Morag,
cat girl
yep.
and the lion, I
Nia,
think, is who I
yeah.
used.
Nia and Dromark are there. Those two are together.
Oh,
And then you would have
that's
had
just that's her
yeah,
blade, right?
that's
That's not
their
a
yeah. And then
character.
you would have had Morag and Bridget, the blue
Yeah. Who did
hair
I?
fire
Who the?
chick.
Yeah. Who the fuck
Um,
did I use? I can't remember. Rex. Definitely. Was it Nia or something? Her name
Nia,
is.
yep.
Yeah. And then fuck. Who did I use? I think it was the cop chick.
Yeah, that's Morag.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think that's who I
Yep.
used.
And she is a defender, I think.
I
So
can't
it
even
makes
remember.
sense.
I
But the
think I
thing
didn't even
was,
use a tank. I think is what
I
happened.
I didn't really like Moraig's character all that much. She's just kind of generic army soldier
She doesn't
lady,
develop as much as a lot of the other characters, that's for
and
sure.
that
But I
was
liked her in
basically it. Yeah,
combat.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, excellent game.
Great game. Looking forward
Um,
to the next one. It's
I
gonna be
I
so good.
hope they make the Nopon like they were in the first game, because
Yeah.
that was the biggest bad change to the series. Right in X they made the Nopon.
Me.
Yeah,
Me.
I hated that because they were so good in the first game. Like they were funny. They weren't
Yeah.
stupid, but they were funny.
They were
Like,
quirky,
they were
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't like annoying and cringy. They were just
Yeah.
hilarious. Like the
Yeah. I
whole
don't know.
the whole arc where like Riki takes you to his village, and the leader of his village is like, oh no, Ricky's like, damn, I'd like to go with you, but only the legendary hero can go, and the village elder just fucking hates Riki, so he just like makes up. He's like, oh look, what's this? Oh, you're the legendary hero.
This
That means
took
you can leave.
This took you 75 years.
Yeah, this took you 75 years to get. Are you sure you want to? And he's like, oh
It's okay,
yeah.
I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, I don't like it anymore. You could have. Oh man, Ricky's the best. He's my favorite character in all of
He's
Xenoblade.
good.
Still.
Yeah.
Oh man, I still like the first one better, but the combat was so much better in the second.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm stoked because yeah, no spoilers. The two games were really good and they had their thing. The third one is going to be it's I like that 2 wasn't a sequel, but it was a sequel.
Yeah, it was a
Right?
sequel at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like weird, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm expecting kind of the same from 3. It's going to be good.
Like
So
one
can't
could
wait.
be a sequel to 2 just as much
That's
as
what
2
I mean.
is a
Yeah,
sequel to
it's
1.
cyclical, right?
Mhm.
Like they're both sequels of each other. I mean, I'm a firm believer at this point, until they burn me. Monolith Soft is one of the few game companies out there who continues to produce top end AAA titles.
Yeah. Thankfully, you haven't played X. If you want to, you saw me play
I saw enough of X
Yeah.
to know, and even before you played it, because I had said, even because you were like, I'm gonna play X, and I'm like, just an FYI, it is nothing like these other two games.
It's more like 1 than like 2, but yeah, it's really not really.
It's kind of
anything like
it's
them.
its own thing, because I think they were aiming at building an MMO.
It is. It's basically a MMO on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Is basically what it
Yeah.
is. But you spend most of your time playing single player. It's kind of stupid.
Game doesn't get good until you play 140 hours.
Yeah.
Then it ain't good.
The story was actually pretty good, but you only get snippets every like
Yeah, a
16
little
hours. It's like,
Yeah,
holy
in between
fuck.
pulling your hair out.
Yeah. And then in October 27th, we get Star Ocean: The Divine Force. So a new Star Ocean game. I think it's gonna be good. Like the last one was overall panned by critics. Like people did not like 5. But there are people that did like it. I haven't played 5. I played 4, and it was like the bar. Like,
Oh, really?
Like it was like, you know, when like if anything, any game is better than it is a good game, and any game that's
Right.
worse than it is a bad game. That was
Right.
kind of the 4th game for
Like
me.
barely made it.
Yeah, like the story was pretty good, but I hate how Tri-Ace does its character models. They look like those like dolls, like
Like
those
the chibi kind of
Yeah,
style.
not
Not
even
like a baby, but like
It's
it's
so
got big eyes. Like
yeah, it's like if me and you had big eyes. Like
Yeah.
it's super weird. I don't like the art style as far as the characters go, but the story in this one, the combat, the gameplay all looks really good. The first trailer looked kind of like shit, but the new one they just released looks really good. And I guess the same
Okay.
could be said about Digimon Survive. First trailer looked like shit, new one looks a lot better. But yeah, super stoked that Star Ocean is getting another release, especially after the kind of the dud they just had. Because sometimes what they'll do is they'll just sack the franchise after a bad
yeah,
game.
then
right?
that's that. It's toast. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in November, we've got Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. This is the most I've looked forward to a Pokemon game since Sun and Moon. So
Yeah.
I hope it's good. It looks like it's going to be a lot better than kind of the more recent Pokemon games. It looks, honestly, Arceus Legends felt like a prototype for a game, and it's Nintendo, so they made you pay fucking $80 to fucking beta test their game. But I feel,
Right.
but I think Violet and Scarlet is going to be the game that was the prototype for, and I think
Hmm.
it's going to be good. But I gotta wait and see. But
Yeah, so I've been playing through Shield on stream here lately, and I gotta tell you, it is fun, right? If they released Shield on the 3DS, I think it would have been a great game,
right.
right? But because they made the jump to Switch and they had all of the trouble and they couldn't bring the pokes over and they had all of this and blah blah blah, excuses. Now we got a DLC, all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
That DLC is there to stay. That is their model going forward. Get on board. That's where Nintendo's at. As soon as Nintendo opened up the door for DLC and annual online memberships, it was never going away. And you'll see, I think Nintendo is going to they'll force out their cheapo, the $24 membership, and
For the
start forcing
online.
people over to the $60 membership, to be in line with Microsoft and
Yeah, but
Sony.
I don't think they can do that because their online is so fucking
It's
shitty.
awful.
Yeah.
The only way that I think they can eliminate the cheap model is by fixing the way that they do their online.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, if they were like, "Hey, if you upgrade your online, the you'll get party system, you'll get in-game chat, you'll get the ability to do this, and the servers will be stable," I'm going for the 60.
I
But
don't
I
even
mean,
think I
it's that
am.
simple.
Like, I don't
I'm
play
going for the
enough
60 if I
online.
play online, I guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
even
good point.
play online games all that much, especially on
Yeah.
Switch.
Yeah, exactly. So, but to come back to Shield, with it being on the Switch, I have actually been enjoying it quite a bit. There's a lot of really good pieces to the game. The story, for a Pokemon story, has actually been pretty decent so far. And I went in thinking that it was going to be a really short game, but I'm up to like almost 30 hours, and I've
Oh,
only
really?
cracked the first three gyms.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I
So
remember.
so I,
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well,
Uh,
I was just gonna say it's so far it's been a pretty decent experience. I mean, I'm not somebody who's bothered at all by not being able to bring your Pokemon in because that's not something that I really care about, right?
oh,
Like
that's what kills
it's
it for
it's
me,
not
man.
to me that's never been an issue even with the other games. I still never made use of bringing them forward because when I start that game, I don't like to start with a beefcake party. I like to start with whatever that game has. I want to use the region versions of those Pokemon, or I want to use the new ones, whatever's in that game, try them out, build a new party, and go with it. Otherwise, what I do is I end up playing the same game of Pokemon every single time they release a new game. Because it's always the same party, it's always the same folks, it's always the same this, right? And so it's been good. Now I haven't really seen a lot of the Galarian, I think it is, version of Pokemon yet, because I'm still, like I said, still pretty early in the game. For being 30 hours in, I was expecting to actually be done, because we had kind of talked about the length of the game, right? And you were
Yeah,
saying one of the streamers you were watching finished it in like 28 hours or something like
yeah, it was
that.
like 26 hours. I saw a
Yeah.
couple
Now, I
people
mean,
finish it.
I imagine if you rushed straight through it, but I'm not good enough at the game to be able to do that. I've got to build my pokes up a little bit, and then they introduced something called a wild area where you walk in and it's Pokemon walking around in there. You can catch them. There's also the tall grass where you can run in and have random encounters. Plus there are these, like they call them dens, where there's super powered Pokemon in there, and it's all random. But they'll shoot a beam of energy up into the sky, and if you come across them, you can join up with four other trainers to take down a big beast mode Pokemon and then catch them. And this is how you, like, sometimes you'll catch legendary Pokemon this way, sometimes you catch rares this way. A lot of times you'll catch just the same old crappy Hoot Hoot or whatever it is that's in there, but
Whoa,
it's
a
all
hoot
random.
hoot is awesome.
Well, sorry, that was the first one that came to mind. Bunary, how about that?
Oh, okay,
Uh,
shit.
so, but I mean, the thing is that then from that you get these things called Watts. Watts are what power up your bike, and then you can buy quick balls with them, and you can. So it's just like there's just a lot of stuff going on in there, and it's been a really fun time. Now, with that being said, big asterisk on this. I only paid $40 for this game.
Yeah,
I think at $40 it's worth it. I think at $80 it's a crime. I don't.
Yeah, no
This is not an
doubt.
$80 game. But if you could find a copy like I did from someone on the buy and sell that's just selling a gently used copy of the game,
Yeah.
I think it's worth at least the $40 just to play it, just to get the story. You're not missing anything by not playing it, by the way. But it has been a fun adventure so far.
To me, the whole we're not actually gonna have like over half of the Pokemon, and then releasing them in DLC bundles was like a hard never. I'm never gonna play it. Never gonna put money
Yeah.
into it. I mean, you never gave Nintendo money for it. You know what I mean? So it's not
Yeah.
as bad, but it's not something I want to do. So I'm the kind of guy that has like a living fucking Pokedex. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and as for like what you said about you don't like playing with the same team or whatever, that's most people that have a living dex. That's not actually what they do. What they do is they'll have guys from previous generations that they've never actually used to play through a story that that they kind of like, but they've never actually tried playing as. So that's what we usually do. So like I can't remember like fucking this is a bad example because he's in Sun and Moon, but like Muck for example, like when I played Sun and Moon, Muck was in my main party. Like I'll pick like random dudes that I've just had with me that I brought from all the previous games that I
Right.
just never played through a Pokemon game with,
Yep.
right?
That makes sense. I think it's going to be a lot better for Violet, Scarlet, and I don't know if you've had much of a chance to check out Pokemon Home or not,
No, I've
but
never
that's
even.
something I've been using as well. It's
I
the
have
evolution of
the
the Pokemon Bank.
bank. Yeah,
Yeah, so the
I
the bank is going to be shut down.
so I should get my dudes out of there.
Well, no, I don't think they're ever going to like delete it, right? But what they're doing is basically they're moving to home, so bank won't be used and isn't used for any Switch game. So
Oh,
if you play Sword Shield, if you play Arceus, if you play Violet Scarlet, you've got to use Pokemon Home. And in order to use Pokemon Home, it's the same subscription rate that you're paying for Bank,
bank.
but they've got to be in Home because the Home app goes on your Switch and on your phone, which is actually really
So
cool.
how do you move them from the bank to home? That's what I'm kind of
So
scared of.
it's all built in. So when you log
Oh.
into Bank, it says move Pokemon to Pokemon Home.
Oh, okay. Because I don't
You
want to.
link the
I have
two
like
accounts.
830
Yep.
some Pokemon. I
Yeah,
don't.
well, like I mean, our buddy Matt, right? He's
Yeah,
got a
he's kind of the
literally
same thing.
completed. He's
Yeah,
got a literally completed living dex with everything out of Arceus, out of
dude.
Sword Shield, all of them.
You wanna know the one Pokemon I'm missing from Blue all the way up to and
Yeah.
including Sun and Moon? That fucking anchor from that he's like I think he's Ghost and Steel type or something. He's a fucking
Okay.
anchor in Sun and Moon, and it's just like a
Okay.
boat anchor, and you have to fish in one spot. And I was like, dude, I spent over 20 hours fishing trying to just have him show up. It's like holy
No kidding.
fuck.
Well, so here's where Pokemon Home could come in handy for you, right? So not only does it have all the bank things that Bank did, right? You store your stuff there, you move them around, you move them to different games, da 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 da. There's a couple other really cool things. So there's a full-fledged trading system. There's a GTS in Home now.
Right, global trade and then
There's
Wonder Trade
also
probably.
Wonder Trade, yeah. And so Wonder Trade in here though works differently than it did in other games, where you would put one in, you would get one out. It's like spinning on a gachapon machine,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas with this one here, you can dump up to 10 Pokemon in it, hit the go button, come back in an hour, and you've got 10
Oh, that's
Pokemon
cool.
swapped out. And it's just something that you just kind of keep
That's just in
rotating them out.
home.
Yeah, it's all in home,
Oh,
all of it.
I
And
have so many, cause my main party is always like, I have like a max IV, Charizard, a max IV, Electivire, a max IV, Wartortle,
right,
and a max IV Heracross. So I have like so many, like almost max IV of
yep,
those just sitting in my
yep.
bank, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Breedjects.
Yeah.
And so those breedjects are perfect for Wonder Trades, and that's exactly what I do. I didn't try and breed them for perfect IVs, but I did breed a ton of Pokemon in the nursery just literally to fill some ammunition to dump out into the world. Because, like I said, I don't collect a living dex of any kind. So
Right.
most of the time when I throw out all of these Pokemon into Wonder Trade, I'm bringing back Pokemon I don't have at all,
Oh yeah,
and
I
so
guess.
now I'm collecting them in, and I'm filling the slots in my decks. And what actually happens every now and then, you get lucky in the Wonder Trade. You'll pull a shiny out of there. You'll pull a perfect IV out of there. I've gotten legendaries. I think I got a Kyogre like the other day.
Oh, okay,
Just
cool.
threw it in there, right? And then, so since you have GTS for that one anchor Pokemon you have in there, you dump in one of your Wonder Trades that you just got because it was a freebie. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You say, I'm looking for this anchor poke. Come back in a day. There you go. Got him. No problem.
So one thing though is, can every Pokemon go in home? They just
Yep.
can't transfer to Sword and Shield.
Right. So the way that it works is when they're in home, it lights up the games that they're able to transfer back into.
Oh,
So right
okay.
now you've got them. Most of them are available to transfer into between Sword Shield and the Diamond Pearl,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And then Let's Go is the other Switch game that's in
I
there as
hope,
well.
I really hope, the Violet and Scarlet has the full national decks. Like,
Yeah.
I really hope. I don't. There's
I
no reason they can't. Like, it's a
well,
fucking
I mean
console.
there is a reason why they can't.
Not really. Yeah. There's no real fucking reason they
There's no
can't.
technical reason why they can't. There
No.
are business reasons why they
Like,
won't.
here's the thing. If they want to do DLC, so you gotta have the national decks in the fucking
Yep.
base game. For DLC, have, like, events so you can catch mythical Pokemon
Hmm.
and new legendaries or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I have like, ooh, an island appeared off the fucking
Well,
coast or
and I
something. You know
think
what I
that's
mean?
how Sword and Shield's DLC is. It's a whole new like place to go to, and
Yeah.
there's like shinies there and stuff, and you can do. I don't know much about it because again, I tend not to look at that stuff until I'm ready to actually go down the
Yeah.
road. And to be honest with you, probably not going to buy any DLC anyways for a game that I wasn't going to play anyways.
Yeah.
Uh, and at this pace, by the time I'm done, Violet and Scarlet will actually be out by then. But from what I understand, that is actually how that DLC works.
Yeah.
And
But you
and
don't
what I was
have the
told was
national
that,
decks in the
well,
main
yeah. So what
game.
I was told is there's this new area of the story, a new place to go to, whatever it is that it is, and then as part of that, they use that as a vessel to pump more Pokemon into it because in order to make this work, you know how the Game Freak explanations work, right?
Yeah.
But basically,
Bullshit.
it goes in here, and because this went in here, they were able to add more models, or able to do whatever it was that they were able to do, and away you go. They can add more stuff in from that point of view.
The thing
But
is, the older games would do that, but it was like once you beat the Elite Four, then this island would open up, and then
hmm
you could catch, like,
it
even
wasn't
in
DLC. It was just the next
it was
part.
part of the game. Yeah, like even
Yeah.
like you look at like Fire Red, and all of a sudden they've got the Cerebi Islands, or the
Yep.
sorry, not Cerebi, the Sevi Islands,
Yep.
and you can catch Pokemon from like Soul Silver and stuff in there,
Yeah. Well, I was gonna
basically,
say,
right?
look at Silver Gold, where they had literally all of Kanto in the game,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like
absolutely. That's still Soul Silver is the best Pokemon game of all time.
that's very good.
You'll never get anything.
So I
better.
mean, so that's the thing. I mean, I've got my hopes up for it. I'm not holding my breath though, right? Like
Yeah, but
I think
I'm
at this point they've tasted money. They realize that people are going to pay it no matter what.
yeah, that's
What
unfortunate.
what motivation do they have to give it to you for free, right? There
Yeah,
is no goodness of my heart here. There is, if we make this $20, we're going to make millions,
yeah,
right? And that's all it is.
but this is the Pokemon game I'm probably most excited for
Hmm.
since Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was
Yeah,
fucking great.
Sun and Moon was really well done. Definitely peak
Yeah,
Pokemon
it's up there.
experience.
Um,
Yeah.
and then we've got December 9th. So this game, they announced that it existed about a year ago on the Dragon, that big Dragon Quest news day, that event thing. I
Okay.
think I streamed the whole thing.
Yep.
And they just never mentioned it again for like over a year. And then it was like last week they're like, "Oh, by the way, no, it was fucking this, yeah, not last week. They're like, by the way, Dragon Quest Treasures comes out this year, December 9th." And I was like,
Oh,
"Holy
jeez.
fucking shit." So the plan was to get Pokemon Violet and play Pokemon Violet, but there's
Hmm.
no way that's happening this year because Dragon Quest Treasures comes out December, like early December. So I'm gonna be
Right.
playing that immediately, and it looks so good. It's funny because when they were showing like there was like magazine leaks of Dragon
Hmm.
Quest Treasures, and people were like, "Oh, this is gonna be the new Dragon Quest Monsters game," and then when they did the big Dragon Quest event, they were like, "This isn't the new Dragon Quest Monsters game, but the first in a new spin-off franchise."
Hmm.
And then they're like, "Dragon Quest Treasures," and you were like, a part of me was like, "Oh, this is cool. There's like a new sub franchise," but a part of me was like, "Fuck, I really wanted a Dragon Quest Monsters
I wanted
game."
monsters. Yep.
Yeah. And then the new trailer dropped, and it's basically both. It's basically if you took Breath of the Wild and made it Dragon Quest Monsters, but you also had like your characters fighting, and it looks so good, man. I'm so
Hmm.
excited. And it's starring Eric, who's like my favorite Dragon Quest character of all time. It's gonna be so good. And it's a prequel to Dragon Quest XI. It's about Eric and his younger sister,
Oh,
the
nice.
adventures they went on.
Huh.
So super fucking pumped for that. And then we've got a couple that do not have release dates yet, but are expected this year. Well, one of these does, I guess. I don't know it. So I'll start with that one. Stranger of Paradise has Trials of the Dragon DLC, and
Okay.
I'm normally not a DLC guy, but Stranger of Paradise that it was like a prequel to Final Fantasy One,
Yeah.
and
The reimagining kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. And anyways, Trails of the Dragon is you remember in Final Fantasy One when you meet with Bahamut and he's like,
Hmm.
"Hey, get me the rat tail," blah blah blah. That's what
Yep.
this is. This is you meet with Bahamut. You have to do some shit for him and then fight him and then you get like a fuckload of more job classes apparently.
Hmm.
So I'm looking
Cool.
forward to that. That'll be pretty cool, I think. Hopefully it's not too pricey. I don't want to spend more than $30 on fucking
I don't know
DLC.
if I don't know if I could even tell you the last time I bought DLC because I just hate
Same.
the practice so bad. I
Yeah.
hate it so bad. I hate supporting DLC. Look, I call it an expansion and I'm interested, but if you're giving me content that should have existed in the game to begin with,
Yeah.
all
I
you're
don't
doing is you just specifically clipped it out of the game, right?
Yeah, yeah. Sonic Mania was the last time I think I got DLC because they came out with
Okay.
Sonic Mania Plus or Encore mode or whatever you want to call it, and it's like a whole new single player campaign. It came out like a year after the game. They added like
So it's
four.
almost an expansion pack then,
Yeah,
right? Like it's almost
and
like
you
if
can
if
buy
you're
it standalone now
yeah.
too, where
Yeah,
and they
so
added
that's
like
less
three or
like
four new characters to it. So
yeah. See, like it would be a different story if it was like here you can buy the Green Hill Zone for
yeah,
24.99.
yeah,
Like that's how DLC feels for me. It's like,
yeah.
well, if the Green Hill Zone was in the original game, yeah, but if you want to play it, it's
Yeah,
$25.
that's usually how it
It's
is.
just slimy. It's like
But
buying a used car.
it really is, yeah. It's like buying a used car, but they break all the mirrors off before you buy it,
Yeah.
and then they
And
try
they're
and
like,
sell you
"Oh,
the
do you need to buy
mirrors.
new mirrors? We have
Yeah,
mirrors."
that's what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for Trials of the Dragon King. I'll probably be picking that up. I don't know if I'll pick up any of the other DLC. They said there's gonna be probably two more DLCs. I mean,
Okay.
I like Bahamut. He's like probably one of my favorite summons of all time. And I like Final Fantasy One so much.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you got Pixel Noir, which we're both looking
Oh
forward
yeah.
to. It still doesn't have like a set in stone release date, but we've been talking to the devs. They think November sometime.
Sounds
So
like it's gonna be this year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that one for me is a drop it and stream it game.
yeah,
Maybe
same.
we could yeah, we'll have to talk and see what we can do about combo streaming or something like that.
And
Cuz
then
it's gonna be a really good game.
it's gonna be good. If so, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's basically it plays like a classic JRPG.
Detective noir kind of.
Yeah, but it's got a detective noir vibe mixed almost with like a Shadowrun vibe. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
looks really good. It's gonna be really good.
Cyberpunky.
Yeah, yeah, kind of
Shadow.
cyberpunky. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Um,
slick.
and this I just found out like this past week as well. Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. Do you remember Monster Rancher at all, or did
Do
you
you
not?
remember Monster Rancher? Yep. I
Yes.
remember playing Monster Rancher and putting CDs into the PlayStation to get monsters out, and we put in we put in my mom's Cat Stevens CD, and we got this like just demon looking thing. Do you
Yeah.
know Cat Stevens? Like,
No, never heard of him.
it's just like he's like a guy with an acoustic guitar who just sings like soft folk kind of
Really?
acoustic
And it was like
music.
this big demon
It's like this
monster?
big demon monster looking thing. I might be misremembering a little bit, but I think
That's
that's what it was.
awesome.
Yeah.
I remember putting in. I can't remember if it was Monster Rancher 1 or 2 Paul had. And I played. Yeah, I played that one. And I put in Kiss's Psycho Circus album, which was like kind of new at the time.
Okay.
And we got like this, yeah, same. It was like this big fucking evil
It's like
demon,
burly
and we
thing.
weren't even able to use it because we didn't have a high enough license. Like you have to
Oh
get
no.
far enough into the tournament in order to
Right.
increase your license in order to use these powerful monsters. But anyways, they I think last year they remade or re HDified remastered Monster Rancher 1 and 2 for the Switch. But as
Okay.
we all know, the Switch does not take discs. To me, the
Right.
gimmick was like the biggest part
Well,
of the
how
fun,
did they?
maybe.
Yeah. Well, how do you get a monster then?
You just
In
type
the
in an
Switch?
album name, basically.
Oh.
It kills
Well,
the
it's
fun.
it's still kind of the same, I guess.
Not, yeah, but you're not running. You know, I like run to like
What CDs
bring
do
all
we
my
have?
CDs. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like part of the fun of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't get that because the battle system in Monster Rancher is absolute shit. But the fun was just raising the monsters and seeing what you would get, right? And like I even remember like do you remember the cartoon show? And then like the song was like what's inside? Like it was like the whole thing was
Yeah.
like what's
Yeah, it was a concept. Yeah.
yeah. And actually in the cartoon he would actually like play a PlayStation and they put these like stone discs in and stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
But anyways, the new one, because they lost that gimmick, right? You don't have the
Right.
disc gimmick anymore. So now the new one is called Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. So now the gimmick is you've got these giant kaiju like Godzilla sized monsters. And like honestly, that's what the series needs to like refresh it. They got the
Okay.
rights to Ultraman, like a lot of the Ultraman big fucking kaiju monsters and stuff.
Okay.
Like wrecking buildings and shit. You can like train them, like they go for a jog, right? And they're like fucking tall, jumping over power lines and shit. Like that's fucking cool as shit to me. Like that's really what the series needed in order to I think survive now because
Do you just pick one from a roster, or do you still generate
I
a
don't.
monster?
Yeah, so I don't know how
You
you're
haven't
gonna
gone
get
through
the
that yet?
monsters. No,
Okay.
but it looks fucking cool. If they get the Toho license, like if they get like Godzilla, King Ghidorah, like shit like that, I'm buying that day one. Like holy fucking shit, I'll do
It'd be
anything
good.
to have
Yeah.
a pet like King Ghidorah and like
Right.
fight against like
Mechagodzilla.
Mecha Godzilla. Yeah. And then they did announce Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
And honestly, I'm not a big Battle Network fan. The problem is the story is like really good, to be honest. But the game is quite literally a fucking cereal box toucan Sam maze with fetch
Yeah.
quests, and that's the entire game.
That
I played
was the one that's like built like an RPG kind of, right?
yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
RPG. The
I
combat
remember
is still
watching
like
that.
action based. You're on like a grid. I really like the
Yeah.
combat. I really like the story, but the fact
the
that
other
you're
stuff,
just
yeah.
running through a maze the whole fucking
I remember
game.
watching you stream that one. It's definitely not a game for me.
No, and I can get through the first two, and I've never made it through the third one. I always have to tap out because it's like it's too much of the
Well,
same
that's
thing.
enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I think this year is honestly the best year for video game releases
It really is.
in fucking man. I can't even remember the last year where there was this many. Like the past 5 years, I feel like there was maybe one or two games I maybe picked up.
I can't tell you the last time I was actually excited for a video game.
Yeah,
Honestly, I've been playing the same games, the same old games for so many years. It's been such a long time since I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that game.
yeah,
Right?
and it sucks.
Very, very rarely.
Like people are like, oh, it's old men bitching, but it's like we're not bitching because we want to just shit on everything. We're bitching because it sucks. Like imagine not having a game to look forward to. You know,
Yeah.
you're a gamer and you don't have any
That's what you
new
do.
release
Yeah.
games to look forward to
Yeah.
that year.
Well, I mean, you do have Call of Duty 75
Yeah, no
and
shit.
Madden.
Duh, I almost
11.
added it to the list. They're releasing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
I
Isn't this
did
like
see
the
Modern Warfare 2
Is this
is
like
being
the third
re-released.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that they're releasing? Like, holy
Well, I
fucking
think they
shit.
re-released Modern Warfare. I don't know if they've done it twice, but they definitely, or sorry, 3 times, but they definitely have done it twice.
Like, holy fucking shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's awful.
And so, I mean, it is what it is. If we're at a point where we're re-releasing games from 2004, like that wasn't that long ago.
No.
But nobody's playing the story mode on these Call of Duty games. They're playing Warzone. They jump on, they play the battle royale. They jump on, they play the multiplayer. They're not playing the single player stuff. And so, what Call of Duty needs in order to pull people like me, hit my microphone, people like me back into the game, is give me a single player. I don't care about the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Make the multiplayer
I like the World
its
War
own
II
thing,
stuff. Like,
and give me the single player. Because I gotta tell you, original Modern Warfare was a really, really
yeah,
good
that one was
single
really
player
good. Yeah.
game. That was a lot of fun. But it was fresh at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just came off of World War II Call of Duty. It
Yeah.
was World War II Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Right? And then when Modern Warfare came out, Call of Duty 4, that was like so different. It was still
It
first person
was.
shooter. That's a fine. But the storyline was really, really well done.
It was really
And,
well written, really good.
Yeah.
And when that nuke goes off and
Yeah.
you're in the chopper, like, holy shit, nobody saw that
Yeah.
coming.
It's just I wish that that's where we would go, but there's so much effort that's put onto the multiplayer
Just the
aspect of it, which
multiplayer.
makes sense. Hey, that's how
That's
they
where
make their money, man.
money.
I get it.
I almost
completely
wish
get
they
it.
would, do like
Separate
two
'em.
separate series. Yeah, yeah.
That's what Halo did.
Is
Halo
it?
said, "Hey, Halo said, hey, multiplayer Halo fans, here is your multiplayer game. It's free. Go play it."
Oh, that's good.
And they're gonna release the single player Halo if they haven't already. I don't have the new Xbox, so I can't play it. But
It'll be on PC. Like,
I don't really care anymore. But
yeah, I've never liked Halo.
It
But
is what it is. But I mean, I that is how you do this. You have your multiplayer. You give it to your fan base for free because they're gonna buy the battle pass. They're gonna buy the boxes. They're gonna buy the loot boxes, the skins, all this stuff. That's how you're gonna make your money on people with money.
So here's
Just
the thing.
flush with it.
They're super fucking smart too. Like, with what their skins and stuff are. Like, I
Yeah.
was this close to getting
Oh really?
one of the Call of Duty games because they had Rambo as like a playable character
Oh,
or
no
something like
kidding.
that, and I was like,
Good for them.
I was like,
Hey,
I had to use a lot of willpower because I fucking love Rambo so much.
Yeah.
And it was like, play as John Rambo.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I was like, I kind of want to play as John Rambo.
Fortnite, okay. Fortnite
has
has
every
literally
character.
everybody in it.
Yeah.
Everybody. Marvel heroes in there. You've got like movie people in there. Like everybody. Everybody's in Fortnite.
Yeah. And it's
It's
smart. It's smart to do that.
It's a smart business play, but I don't know if well, I mean, you would have seen glimpses into what a cesspool Fortnite is.
Yeah,
right?
I've played Fortnite a couple times. People always get mad at me because I remember I used to play. I played a couple times with Fates and Smo,
Yeah.
and yeah, they just get mad because what I do is I just find like a truck or a dump truck and I just hide in the back of the truck until hopefully everyone's dead or until like the zone moves away from that truck.
Right.
I remember I got second place once just hiding in trucks.
Nice.
and all my teammates were fucking dead.
Just hiding in the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Those aren't my kind of games.
No, not at all.
But
They're
good
not
for
at
them.
all.
Good for them making lots of money.
Yeah, no
Congratulations.
shit. It allows them to give us free games away every now and
That's
then.
right.
Because isn't that the
Yes.
same company? It's
That's the same company, Epic Games. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the one.
Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, so for Call of Duty, like the only ones I really ever played was World at War, like the original, and then
That was a good one.
and then World at War was the best one, and then
That was good.
and then Modern Warfare. Those are the only two I really played.
Yeah, those were really good.
But the
games.
stories were like the campaign was so fucking good, and like that's what I don't get is like I don't know if Modern Warfare had it, but World at War, you could play like I think up to 4-player co-op through the story.
Yep.
Like that's what
Yeah,
I
four
like
had it
doing.
as
If
well.
like people like as much as I'll say, "Oh, I don't like multiplayer, blah blah blah." I suck at first-person shooters. I don't like multiplayer because I'm just the game is called Spawn and Die. That's what I call
Spawn Simulator.
Yeah, when we played Gundam, like when I'm not playing with you, when we were playing Gundam Evolution, it was just spawn and die, spawn and
Yeah.
die. So like I like co-op campaign because then you're working towards something. Me and Fates, we
Yeah.
tried playing through World at War on the hardest difficulty, and
Right.
it was so much fun because my strategy when I'm playing co-op, I call it the smoke-a-dope. And what I do is I throw a smoke grenade into a group of enemies, and then I run in there and I just bayonet the shit out of as many people as I can. And then I die, and then he throws a real grenade, and then runs in and revives me. And that's just how we slowly push through the game. It's so much fun.
That's I. That's the best thing about those games is that you have a way to play a game inside the game, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
But even like, I wish Far Cry, like we play Far Cry 5 every now and then.
Hmm.
Um, and I wish you could have more than just two of us. Like even four's a great number. Like if
Yeah.
you had four guys, that would be so much fun. Like co-op multiplayer is really where I wish things would
Yeah.
go more towards.
I don't
It's-
know why they don't allow more than two. The only reason I could think of is that it was a balancing thing. It's probably really unbalanced when you've got four human players
Against
because you
the
probably wipe everything
AI.
out. But then
And-
again, if I want to bring four people in and wipe everything out, let me do it.
Yeah, and like you could argue that a couple guys could just fuck off and go really far away, but I don't think it lets you do that. Like I think if you get too far away, it brings you to the host, doesn't it? I think it does.
I think, or when you kick up an event, it pulls you in to it. Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah. So
but
that wouldn't even be an issue. Like that
Mhm.
a guy would just fuck off and because I mean that would be a lot for the game to handle, right? Like
Totally, yeah.
loading like two opposite parts of the map and stuff, but I don't think you can even do that, so it wouldn't even be an issue. I guess one thing that would be an issue is like the planes are generally two-seaters, so what the unless
Right.
they did like remember that Battlefield Heroes we would play where
Yeah.
we'd have two guys
Like
sitting
hang
on
on
the
the
wings?
wings?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. I miss that game. I think
Yeah.
about playing that actually quite a bit.
Yeah. But anyways, is there anything you wanted to discuss that
No,
that we
I mean,
missed or
I think that kind of covers it, right? I don't. There isn't really any other games that I can think of that are coming out that I'm excited for that we haven't already talked about. I mean, there's like Overwatch 2 and stuff like that, but I'm not really excited for those games. Like it's just
No.
like they're coming out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so jaded now when it comes to new games that I have to see them. I have to see them released for a good while before I jump in.
And they're so
Even Shredder's
expensive,
Revenge, I didn't
too.
pick it up. Yeah, and with that being said, the Ninja Turtles game was only $30, I think. So I mean,
Yeah.
good on the developers for not charging $80 for that game, right?
Oh, you got to grab Streets of Rage 4 at some point. Get it on
right,
PS4.
yeah.
We'll play through
Yeah.
that. That is fucking so good too.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But
But-
anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching or listening. If you are listening to this, check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/dookie03. If you're watching this, check us out on Spotify. If you just search Relaxed Retro Talk, we'll come up, or Luminaries of the Live Stream will come up on there. That it's just a handier way to probably listen to the podcast if you're driving around and stuff like that, if you got stuff to do. And we both stream on Twitch if you want to go ahead and
Yeah, so yeah, you can find us both on Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/dgonline.
I'm at twitch.tv/dookie03. So have a good one, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and we will see you soon.
See you in the next one.